That's my daughter's college fund. Ugh.
Relax, I'll get it back.
Hey everyone, I'm the Broken Meeple. Win or lose, I'm going to be honest with you, and I really need to be honest up front when it comes to this particular game. This is Jackpot Set the Reel, the little expansion, and as well the main card game, recently finally released from Drander Games at the Games Expo, and yeah, some of you are aware I have a bit of a connection to this game. I didn't design it, but I kind of, helped out by demoing it. Yeah, for the last year, 2025, throughout the whole of the Expo and the whole of Essen, I was demoing this game religiously. So if you spotted me at any of those two conventions, you would have seen me on the Drander stage for at least half those conventions demoing Jackpot. Not the expansions, this is new, so I've had some new time with this, but the original game, I was playing it in its prototype stage. So I gave hints on how to develop it, I gave my feedback, here's what you can improve, here's some stuff to take in mind, and I didn't design it, I just gave feedback from lots of playtesting.
That just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
But it should be noted that I don't demo games I don't like. Yeah, if I think the game is meh or bad, I'm not going to demo it. I don't care how much I like teaching games. So, spoiler alert, this isn't a bad game, okay? I'm not going to be giving this a negative rating, because why the hell would I demo it for a year if I hated it? So I need to be just upfront and honest about that, okay? But I'm still going to review this game, and I'm still going to let you know the pros and cons of it, and give you my verdict at the end. But yeah, in the interest of honesty, which is what my channel is all about, I kind of need to let you know of that before anybody gets on my case and goes, wait a minute, I saw you do that. Yeah, I know, I'm ready for that.
Trust me with your entertainment.
Jackpot is best described as a hand management game where there is no luck after you get your initial hand. What do I mean? Well, I mean that you basically get your hand of cards with your icon on it to denote your player color. You give them a little shuffle, and then you fan them out in your hand so that you can see all the different cards that you've got, and at that point, all the randomness in this game is gone. For good. There's no more randomness. What you do is entirely your choice. The way it works is that you are trying to, like every other slot machine, get 3 in a row as often as possible, because that will score you a lot of points. You are playing cards from your hand in sets of 3 in order to facilitate that, but you are never allowed, with one tiny exception in the game, to ever change the order of the cards in your hand. Once you've got your hand like this, that's it. You can't mess around with the order. And the idea is that you will choose 3 cards on your turn to play down. So let's say I choose these 3 cards here. I get a bell, I get a blank which is basically a colourless card for now, and a melon. If you only get one of a kind in a row, you only get a coin, because that's how fruit machines work. They read from left to right. The amount of people I've demoed this game to who don't understand how slot machines work is frankly staggering, and I don't even gamble. But then also, when you do your next turn, you could play another 3 cards. So I could pick, for example, these 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. You stack them on the ones you did before, and again, I've only got one of a kind. I just get a coin. Let's say, for example, though, on the next hand, let's take this just as a rough example, I do cherry, cherry, melon. Sadly, I have to do cherries. I hate cherry, but I get 2 in a row. I get to take a bonus token. This bonus token has a special effect. You cash it in to do it. It's basically like that. Then what happens is, after everybody has done this 3 times, you have a 10th card in your hand. This is then passed to the player on your left, and you will receive one as follows. Ideally, you want to give them a card that is currently a colourless one. I've got a 7 in my hand. That is really not the best thing to give, but essentially you are drafting that 10th card. Once you receive the 10th card from the other player, you will place it down on one of your columns, and then you will gain income based on whichever column has the most money in it, in this case 4. So I get 4 coins. These are used to buy and upgrade cards. We'll get onto that in a minute. And then after that, you choose how you want to stack these 3 piles. And you're going to do it based on where the cards are. So I'm looking at this and thinking, well, I've got 2 bells there. There's a bell here. Okay, there's no bells in that one. So you know what? I'm going to, tricky. I'm going to put this one on top of there and this one below there. You take up your entire hand and fan it out and rinse and repeat for multiple rounds after that. This is the whole idea, that there's no luck in this game, because whatever you did is entirely your doing. You don't like the position of the cards in your hand? Well, you're the one who set them up that way, so you've only got yourself to blame. What you can do though on your turn is spend coins to buy and upgrade cards. So I mentioned some of them are colorless, and all of these cards can be flipped to an extent, so they have on there an icon to say what it is on the other side. But let's say I have this hand of cards and I like, okay, let's say I've got a, let's take for example, I've got 2 bells here and a colorless bell in my hand. Okay, I'll set it up like that. I could decide to pay 2 coins and flip this bell, turn it over, and then on my turn I can play bell, 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 and now I've got 3 bells. I take a points card. Diminishing returns, you get less points the further on in the game these are taken, so it wants you to diversify to an extent, but basically you get 3 in a row. Happy days. You've managed to get a points card and score victory points, of which the game will continue for multiple rounds until somebody crosses 30 VP, at which point you then finish the round, and then you look at your hand of cards and count up all the victory point stars that are printed on them, and that is your final score. You can also buy cards from a central display. I've just got 2 of them out here. They cost a bit of more money, 4 coins a piece, but then this is when you can basically go, well, you know what, I really don't want this particular card in my hand, so I'm going to buy this melon card, and I'm going to remove this one and slot this exactly where that one came from. And again, you can do this to try and set yourself up for combos on your turn. The bonus tokens are pretty straightforward. Most of them either, they let you use something as a wild, they get you coins, they get you points, they get you a discount. But the one main exception is that you have one here that allows you to rearrange a card in your hand. That is the only time in this game you can do that kind of jiggery pokery. So it's like, okay, I've got these, I could really do with, let's say I've got something like this, I've got a wild in my hand. I really want that wild next to the 2 melons. Play the token, whoop, boom. That is the only time you can manipulate your hand during a round. Other than that, you can't. But that's all there is really. You carry on for multiple rounds until somebody breaches 30, finish the round, add up the points on your cards, and of course, the one with the most.
Of course!
Now, Jackpot is a pretty neat small package. I mean, you've got a very small box. It's just big enough to fit everything in sleeved. And the idea is that you have very vibrant color scheme throughout. You know, nothing's like crazy component-wise. I mean, you've got some big, chunky wooden tokens for your player markers, which is all nice. But the coins are cardboard, bonus tokens are cardboard. You know, there's nothing special there. But, you know, the color scheme used across this is simple, but vibrant and colorful. You know, it doesn't need to be crazy, you know, detailed artwork or anything like that. You know, I just need to see what the symbol is, and it needs to, like, stick out. You know, it needs to, like, shine my eyes, you know, shine brightly in my eyes so I know exactly what it is. And this one will do just that fine. You know, when you've got things found in your hand, it is very easy to tell whether by icon or by color what is in your hand. And I particularly like the fact that this game caters for left or right-handed people, because on the side of the card you have what is on the flip side. It's on both sides of the card though. So the information on one side of the card is identical to the other. So it doesn't matter how you hold the cards in your hand, whether they're left or right-handed, as long as you fan them out and are comfortable with holding a bunch of cards like this, you can easily see what's going on in the game and you're not losing out on any information.
Good job.
The rules to this are crazy simple as well. I mean, I've had to deal with a prototype rulebook for ages, and I've certainly given my views as to how certain things needed to be worded in it, and I'm pleased to say that the end result for the rulebook is a success. I mean, this is a very easy game to learn. It may look like there's a decent amount of pages in here, but it's relatively large font. There's a decent amount of pictorial examples, and, you know, a lot of this stuff will come naturally to people who have played card games before, but, you know, even if you've never played games before, I wouldn't say this is gateway level, but it's certainly a next step game. You know, it's pretty straightforward overall, and I like the fact twofold that firstly, the whole stacking mechanism for how you stack your cards at the end of the round has a very good example as to how that works, because that's usually the main fiddly bit to explain, but it's very quickly dealt with because you've got a nice diagram to show it. On top of that, I also like that you actually get a reference card. I mean, not that you overly need a reference card. I mean, the round overview is pretty straightforward, but it tells you exactly what you get for every type of free card combo that you do. 1 of a kind, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, and it reminds you that you read from left to right, like with every slot machine. So at least there should be nobody should be playing this game not understanding the particular rule, because it really is that easy to pick up.
Barely an inconvenience.
Now, of course, spoiler alert, you know that I like the game, but here's why I like it. It's this card manipulation. Best way I could describe this game to people, and I must admit they had a bit of a laugh when I described it like this, is that I consider this game to be basically, it's like Scout, but fun, okay? So the idea is that you've got this hand of cards that you can't manipulate, with the exception of that little bonus token there. So I like the fact that there is no randomness. You shuffle your cards at the start, and that is your hand. And yeah, you might get one person that is slightly luckier than another, but typically your cards are going to be mixed. You're not going to be able to make 3 of a kind in your first turn. It's not possible. So you might be able to do it in the first round, but you have to do some crazy manipulation for it. And even then, there is a pro and a con to getting 3 in a row. Yes, you'll get the points card, but there are multiple things you have to consider with what you play. And this is where the sort of real meat of this game comes. It's not just simply, oh, I'll put 3 in a row. Yes, that's what you want to aim to do, but there's a lot of forward planning in this. You're looking at your hand and going, right, well, let's say, let me flip one of these over because this would not have been upgraded or something. I need to think, right, well, all of these cards are not in the best order, but I've got 2 melons there. Well, how do I get a 3rd melon there? Well, hang on. If I can get a bonus token and move that card to there, then I'll take this bonus token and do that. But that means I need to get 2 in a row. Well, hang on. Let me play Bell, Bell, and 7 first. Okay, well, that's 2 in a row. I can take the bonus token. That then allows me to potentially move a card, or failing that, you know, I've got a couple of coins from the last round. I could pay the coins. I could flip this one over to a melon. Okay, hey, I can do 3 melon like that. And this is the cool thing you do with this game. You set yourself up for these little combos, but there's other little micro things to consider. Firstly, you've got the 10th card that you pass. Some of these cards are worth a victory point at the end of the game, and they can matter. You know, you play to about 30, 35, 40 victory points. I mean, the most you should be really scoring in this game is probably, I'd say, 40 points. I mean, if I've done really well at this game, I might be close to 40, but you shouldn't get beyond that, really. And you can have, you know, those little points here and there on the cards do make up a difference, especially as you tend to get some fairly tight finishes on these games. But as well as passing that 10th card, you've also got to think, the income for the next round. What am I going to do about that? Because you get coins based on the column that has the most coins in it. Well, you're playing the cards out, so you get to decide how many coins are in a particular column, and you may be willing to take somewhat duff turns so that you can set yourself up with that. I mean, you know, I've got a situation, let's say I got, you know, we'll change this up a little bit, so we'll put that over there. So I've got 3 coins already in that row. Now, I could, if I wanted to, play, let's say I got this. I could play a bell, I could play 2 colorless, and I would have a coin for that. But then it's like, yeah, but then I'm not setting myself up with a good hand for the next round, and I'm losing out on some of the income. Well, you know what? Why don't I play a duff hand? I'll play this, this, and this. So I get a coin for income there, so I'm still getting the coin, but I don't get any coin right now because it's a colorless. But as a result of this, after I've passed my card around and put something else down, I can go, right, well, if I stack this on top of this, I've now got 2 bells next to each other, so that's ideal. So all I need to do is find a way to get rid of that melon card, and I can have 3 bells in a row. Sweet, that'll work. We'll carry on like this. This is your thought process, and I gotta give props. This feels very different to a lot of card management games. I know I mentioned the whole it's scout but fun thing, so yes, we have had a game recently that does that whole here's your hand of cards and you can't jury rig it in any way, but you know, we don't get many of those, and this one does feel like it's a welcome drop in an ocean that's like bloated with all these little card games, but this one feels different enough, and I gotta give it props for that. Now, there's not a ton of variety in the game, for sure, because, you know, you have the 7s all the time, you have the, you know, the same cards that come out, the same setup for player count, etc. for the points, so nothing really changes, and the game only scales for player count based on the number of points cards available. Other than that, more players will basically just add more time and maybe a little bit more chaos in terms to when the point cards get taken. But that's about it. For the most part, you're not really changing the game up that much. And so there is a little bit of a repetitive element to it over time. But still, you know, you bring this one out every now and again. It's a good, solid bit of fun that, you know, it's always entertaining to see the people sort of click. When you explain the rules to them, you're like, okay, this is a little bit weird, but let's have a go with it. And it's that first round. That first round is the best part to teach, because they get to the point where they've got the 3 stacks, the 10th card comes around, and then the penny drops as they realize what they've done right and what they've done wrong. As soon as they get that point of stacking the cards, this whole game clicks and makes sense to them.
Great Scott!
And after all that, the game actually comes with a solo mode. I didn't actually expect them to put a solo mode in the game, and I didn't have any input on this. But the solo mode is an interesting take on a beat your own score. Yeah, okay, there's no AI, but how on earth would you program an AI into this game? But there's got a neat little timer mechanic into it. You have your starting hand of cards as normal, and you play by normal rules. But there's a couple of cool little changes. Firstly, the bonus tokens are done in such a way that you can't spam the same token all the time. You have to kind of use all of them, or at least most of them, and before they get like shuffled into a new stack. So you can't spam the same token over and over again. So that's a cool little thing. But you also have a timer deck made up of a deck of cards all face up of, like, you know, another player's cards. And the idea is that whenever you normally have to pass the 10th card round, you simply take the top card of the timer deck and add it to your hand, and it should normally be a usable card. You can up the difficulty variant though by using the colorless ones, and you can just add as many as you like to make the game slightly more difficult. But if you don't claim a jackpot card in the round, you also take out the bottom card of the timer deck. So the game lasts somewhere between 5 to 10 rounds, depending on how well you can keep doing the jackpot cards. And it also means that you don't want to do too many jackpot cards all at once, because you could feasibly do 2 in a round. But that doesn't make the timer go any faster or slower. So you might actually want to set yourself up in such a way that you only play 1 jackpot card per round so that you can keep the timer deck going as slow as possible. So it's a neat little additional thing you got to do. But other than that, it's beat your own score, and it's a decent challenging score system. I don't think it's completely unfair. I also don't think it's too easy either, but if you want it to be a bit more difficult, you could just throw in some colorless cards in the mix and you'll do just fine. But yeah, it means that you can play this game solo as well and have a good time with the mechanics of it. You know, it's ticking pretty much all the boxes.
But wait! There's more!
Now you can get some expansions for this. So what they've basically got is the system where the 7s get replaced with a different card, a different jackpot card, and so you basically play like a little mini game, like with other slot machines or fruit machines, you know, depending where you're from. So you basically get the 3 in a row, and then you play this little mini game on the machine or something until you eventually resolve that, and then you go back to trying to get 3 in a row. Well, this comes in a little expansion box. Sad to say that if you sleeve this game like I do, you're going to need the box as extra storage, because you will not be able to fit everything into the main box otherwise, and I've had to sort of cram things in here. But the idea is depending on which one you use, you basically get some additional pieces, and you will have new cards that will replace the 7s, and a little rule book to explain. Now, all of these function in pretty much exactly the same way, no matter what. So we've got, there's one over here in this box. We've got the 4-leaf clovers, we have got the ship sails, and we've got like the sort of lost tomb relics, you know, Indiana Jones type thing. And the idea is that each one of these will play out in a different way. So very simple with the 4-leaf clover. This basically has a jackpot card for 4 victory points, and then you will roll these 3 dice. And basically this is a random element. So you roll 3 dice, and you can keep faces from one roll to the next, and it's a bit like King of Tokyo, if you remember that one. So you get to roll 3 times. So that was a pretty dumb roll, okay. Alright, well that's fine on, that's a victory point, I might save that one. There you go, I get 2 victory points in the wild, I'll take the 2 victory points. And that's essentially it. It's a very easy mini game. It's just basically another one of those, like, you got 3 in a row, right, let's see if you can win more. It's that type of thing. So it's a nice little dice element, very easy to throw in if you just want something, maybe, you know, if you've got young people, kids who just like chucking dice, well, you got an excuse to use it there. That's a nice way of doing it. The Lost Tomb is kind of a bit like a higher, lower, push your luck affair. So the idea with the Tomb one is that you lay out a bunch of cards with a really cool little system. I love it with the artwork, where basically it's drawn so that it's at a kind of an angle. So basically when you like put the cards together, it actually looks like you're doing a downhill slope. That's pretty cool, pretty dramatic. But the idea is that you'll lay these cards out. I'm just going to get a few, for example. You'll have a boulder and you'll have your adventurer here. I think you can probably see where this is going. The idea is that you will flip the first card over and it will have a number on it, and your adventurer moves on it. And then you play the higher lower game. So I've got a 1 that's numbered 1 to 7. You go, right, well, I reckon the next one's higher. Well, what a surprise, it's a 2, okay? And the boulder will move after you. Okay, next one I think it's going to be higher for a 2. Cool, it's a 3. Good. Yeah, I didn't really shuffle these, but you know, typically it would be a lot harder than that. But if you get a wrong answer, the boulder moves 2 spaces, and it's very much a case of can you get to the end of the row before the boulder catches up with you. At which point you're getting the rewards on the cards that you've passed. And these basically are just coins or VPs, although there is some, you know, decent amount of VPs you could potentially earn here. This is entirely a push your luck affair. So basically, well, it's push your luck. Yeah, I mean, higher or lower, yeah, you might have a 2 and it will still not go well for you. But they are numbered 1 to 7 and they are all unique. So it's not like you're going to go, all right, I've got a 2, so I've already had the 1, so it can't possibly be a 1 again. You can kind of figure it out. So it's not entirely like push your luck, but that's essentially what the tomb does. And then you've got the ship sail. So this one is basically just moving along a map of cards. So the way this works is you have a bunch of movement cards that are shuffled. You replace the 7s with the sail card, just like in the other one. And all of these you score 4 victory points and you get the special mini game. But the idea with this one is that you lay out a bunch of cards with a map on it. And this is done in a particular way. I'm just showcasing for quickness here. And every time you get 3 of the sail cards in a row, you have a ship on a space. And then you flip 3 of these shuffled movement cards. And the idea is that you pick one of them to move your ship and resolve its effects, skipping over another player. And then you take a second one and move it, and then you take the third one and move it. The idea being that you get the rewards and all the spaces you land on. So you're trying to sort of think, well, what's the best combination of the movement cards so that I can get the best stuff off this map? Other than that, that's essentially it. It's essentially a movement mechanic with this. So the expansions add a nice little bit of flavour to the game, a nice little bit of theme, but they're not like a drastic improvement or anything like that. They're just a cool way to vary up the 7s, which otherwise are just basically points. You know, there's nothing particularly fancy about the 7s. This just gives you that nice little flavour of a fruit machine game where you basically do have that little mini game part when you get 3 in a row. Do I like them? Yes and no. I mean, I think overall, the ship one and the dice one to the Lost Temple one. The Lost Temple one, you could just get really lucky in how the cards are dealt. But it is a nice little amusing game. The dice, yeah, it is rolling dice. It is kind of random, but it's kind of Tokyo rules, so you do get a decent amount of re-rolls with this. So you should be able to get something half decent out of it. And it's very easy to throw in. I mean, hell, you could literally teach this game with the 4-leaf clover as the jackpot card and just ignore the fact that 7s exist, frankly. The sail one is also less luck driven because there's only so many movement cards. You flip 3 of them, so chances are you are going to be able to move your ship in such a way that you will get a decent reward, and so this one doesn't feel as lucky as the other 2. So I would certainly say I would rank these probably, I'd say I like the sail one the most, then I like the 4-leaf clover after that, and then probably the temple boulder rolling last. But as I say, they're minor little things. But would I throw one into every game? Not necessarily, because I kind of like the base set for being the no randomness thing. The idea that after you've shuffled your cards for the starting hand, that's it, there's no randomness. When you throw in these little mini games, you add a certain degree of randomness. Not chaotic randomness, but some randomness. And it's going to come down to your preferences as to whether you want to add that in or not. I personally probably would rather not, but to avoid the main game getting stagnant, you kind of want to throw one of these in every now and again and just add a bit of flavour. And certainly if you've got a young family playing this game, like you've got your kids or something, they're going to have a blast with these little mini expansions. And let's face it, Dranda could go nuts with this. I mean, they could do it based on the games they've already released. We could have a Novoria one, we could have a Cthulhu Great Old Ones one, we could have a what do you call it? Was it called Pioneer Rails or whatever? You know, the Isle of Trains one. We could have all sorts of different themed ones just for Dranda games. And there's still plenty enough variations on fruit machines in real life where you could use this. So, yeah, it's a neat thing to throw in, but by no means essential. So spoiler alert, yes, I like the game, okay? I've already made my piece at the start of this video, but I wouldn't demo a game all year round if I didn't think it was worth demoing. And this one was worth it. This is a game that I have wanted people to try and wanted people to play. I rolled my eyes when I was first told about the game at first. I thought, okay, we're doing fruit machines. I mean, that's not exactly a great theme. It's called Jackpot Set the Reel, which I gotta admit is not exactly the most enthralling title in the world. Although it does at least have a very, nice box cover, so it is nice and colourful in that. But yeah, I was thinking, okay, this will be a nice little card game, nothing much to speak of. And it actually really surprised me on how much I enjoyed it and how much I thought, oh yeah, this is a bit of a unique drop in the ocean now. This is something different. This is something that, I think is going to appeal to a lot of people. Don't let the whole gambling theme put you off, because there is no gambling in this game. I mean, unless you want to try and link it to one of the little mini expansions, but even then, that's whatever. You know, there's no sense of gambling in this game. It's not going to be a controversial theme or anything like that. It's just a really good, small, well-produced, simple, fairly short. It takes only about 40 minutes to play a game typically, so it's definitely keeps to a pseudo filler category, and can be played solo, can be played with up to 4 players. It doesn't, you know, doesn't do the stupid thing of putting a 5 on the box like everything. I mean, I certainly probably would not recommend playing this with 5. There's no point. And you could expand this with more little mini expansions in the future, which I can take or leave. They're not amazing, those mini expansions, but it's something to add a little bit of extra flavor. It's just, you know, it's got a lot of hidden depth that you don't necessarily grasp at first until the end of the first round, and then it clicks, and it just makes for a very good, rewarding experience. Now, there's only so much variety in the game. You know, the game could get stagnant if you play it too many times too often. Even the mini expansions are only going to vary things up so much, so you need to be a little bit wary of that. And yes, there's no luck in the game, but your starting hand could have a slight impact. You know, if it really came down to it, you could find some way to make it so that everybody's got slightly similar hands, but it's not really a big deal. It's a light filler at the end of the day. I've shuffled my deck, I've shuffled my hand of cards into whatever combination you can think of and still won. So I'm not going to put that down to starting card luck, you know. So there's definitely a good amount of, you know, hidden depth here. That means that the better player should win more often. It's just a really cool card game. I'm giving it a, you know, it's not quite 10 out of 10 worthy, but it's certainly a 9 out of 10. This is an excellent hand management game, which, as I said, I demoed for a year. I've had a lot of input into this, so, you know, if you want to take that verdict with a grain of salt, you're more than welcome to. I wouldn't hold it against you, but honestly, I wouldn't demo it if I didn't like it. I like it. I think more people should grab this. You know, I think this is a cool card game. It's great for game cafes because you could easily teach this or self-learn it. It really isn't hard. It's just got that list of boxes and it is ticking them as you go along. Just maybe doesn't quite tick the box in terms of the variety or the sort of, shall we say, branching plays, that kind of thing. You know, that box is not ticked, but that's a small price to pay for what is a very good, entertaining filler game.
Shut up and take my money!
So that's it for me on this episode of The Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, then please thumb it up on YouTube and thumb it up on Board Game Geek when it goes live on the page. I've done other reviews for other Dranda games before, Explorers and the Warrior, Isle of Trains, etc. So by all means, check out that content if you want to see it. There's a Patreon if you want to help this channel get more copies of games to review in the future. And you can check out some cool upgrades for your games by looking at my affiliate by the same token, using the discount code in the description to get yourself a little bit of a saving here and there, and it helps the channel continue. So without further ado, I'll see you soon. Take care. Remember, it's only a game, and I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple video. Bye for now.